The early years of the 12th century had seen the rise of a new power in Calradia, as the Vlandian uprising surged across the realm. Baron York and the thunderous hooves of the Vlandian horse lords had trampled foes in their wake to western supremacy. The Battanian and Western empires were no more, and although there was inner tumult, Vlandian arms had paved the path of victory. But in every campaign plan, there may be hidden flaws, and Baron York's plan to annihilate the two neighborly powers had unintended consequences. Two rival empires were now directly on the borders of the Vlandian territory, and while the strength of the Sturgians was focused out east, a new dominant power had arrived from the south, the Aserai. Long led to a relatively peaceful existence by Sultan Unquid, his death ushered in the wildly aggressive and domineering warlord Guzid Baglasir. His new campaigns in the south had quickly retaken territory lost to the Vlandians and pushed as far north as Jakulan and Marunath. Then came the terrible Battle of Varen, later made into legends and songs by the Turkish people of modern times. The Vlandian forces that day had thrust their way into the castle citadel and defended it with great skill and courage, but the unending hordes of skilled horsemen and Aserai legions eventually retook the castle and destroyed all of the forces led by Baron York inside the castle walls. This tragic loss had led to a series of defeats, and more than 5,000 Vlandians had met their doom or found the inside of prisons by late 1108. The Aserai conquest eventually touched as far north as the snows of Revel and the cities of Omor. Eventually, through prisoners of war, the Vlandians learned the reason for this powerful insurgency. As ambitious and powerful as Guzin was as a warlord, he was only the sultan in title and with permission. The real sinister and terrifying power of the Aserai leadership was a warlord named Wazuban. The son of a peasant farmer from the deep south, Wazuban had nevertheless seized power through incredible victory and galvanized his people into a veritable storm of violence. Skilled in the art of tactics and undefeated in battle, Wazuban continued to work alongside Guzid the Great, and between his genius for war strategy and tactics and the reckless courage and tenacity of Sultan Guzid, the Aserai were now unleashed on the north in a tide that seemed to threaten the entire realm of Calradia. Was there any force in the kingdom that could stop this savage invasion? Could the Vlandian nobles work together instead of against each other to meet this new crisis? Only time would tell. And it is surprising. Neither one of them got attacked while they were sieging those cities. They were there for days. So color me surprised, but we'll take every advantage of it. Now, who knows where the Aserai are, right? Maybe they are fighting one of the other kingdoms they're at war with. I think they're at war with the Khazate. I think maybe there was one other country they're at war with. Maybe they're here at Dunglanys. It's usually what happens when there's 800 or 900 defenders. We've got this other army up here. Let's take a look at Dunglanys, but it's nice to add a couple of cities down there. We add Sargat and Jakulan to the sort of recovering realm here. And those armies are on the move, right? They're heading to more Aserai cities. And here's a couple of the Aserai forces, but that's manageable, right? 2,000. We've got 600. Well, now it's 3,000, more than 3,000. Let's see. We might be able to make that guy join. I can't really call any other armies to us. You can see we just barely have enough influence to maintain this small army here. This guy, this gal, she's a day away. I don't know if I want to wait that long. This is one of those decisions that you have to make as a commander. Here's what I'm thinking, fellas. That this dipshit's going to Uthalim Castle to besiege, even though right in front of him there's a defense to make. He's not going to make it because the AI is stupid. I think we can make this guy help him. Now our army's kind of bottom heavy here. We're still leveling units, and these are probably those same Doomstack Aserai forces that have been destroying us. Siege is probably our best shot to destroy them, and Dunglanys is a defendable city. It's one of the better Battanian cities to defend. So I think we make our stand here. We've already made a number of stands, of course. Varon Castle was a disaster. And let's start another episode here. Welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. We give you this wide angle shot here of our epic Vlandian campaign, our humbly named campaign here. And I think it has been epic. I think you guys have probably been enjoying the ride as this heavily, I want to say moderately modded campaign enters its I want to call it the gnarliest stage, right? We have this Aserai invasion. Look at the Khazate forces here, or at least look at their possessions. Abcomer Castle. We've got armies to the south heading to Ortesia, which seems like suicide, but isn't this wild? There's Khazate all the way over here in the west joining the party. Who knows what's going to happen, right? It's very dynamic at this stage. And before I started this episode, we found this. There's 3 different Aserai forces here sieging at Dunglanys. There's a small defense force, but I think I can pull this guy in using the reinforcement system. This gal, see, it's too far away for her to reach us without this city really being bedraggled by the time we get in. We can get in with about 500 troops here. I've said before that I'm not going to sneak into cities. Here's the exception I'm going to make, fellas, for this campaign. Anytime a city is besieged by 2,500 or more troops, we will sneak in. And what I'm basically saying is that I don't think it's appropriate for you to utilize and sort of abuse the system here with the sort of sneak-in process, right? When there's 1,200 sieging and you have 500, I don't think it's fair to sneak in, right? But it's another rule we'll set for us in this campaign here as I look for a crossbow. Where the fuck are my crossbows? Oh, you know what? We've been captured. Of course, they're not in his inventory slots normally, so we're just going to have to put on this simple light crossbow here. I'm not even sure if that thing's worth firing, but we'll put it on here for siege. You know, we might need it. This might be a very, very long, difficult siege. Who knows what kind of reinforcements we're going to get, but that's the point I'm trying to make. We can kind of pull this Vlandian force into this battle because of the reinforcement system. Now, there's definitely a chance they don't join. Whoops. You can't put the banner on your crossbow bolt inventory spot. We're going to sneak in, and then the hope is that either this gal or Arthemond joins the battle, right? Basically sensing there's opportunity for them to ass jam the attackers here. It might make for a really interesting siege. So partly I'm doing it for theater too. That'll be really awesome if a bunch of Vlandians ride in Rohirrim style behind the Aserai here in a titanic epic battle. There's no question, fellas, I play this game 5% different for you fellas. We're seeking epic, gnarly battles. We're playing with our hair on fire. I've been using that analogy this whole campaign. Let's see these armies here. I bet they're monstrous. 600 cavalry, and yeah, absolutely monstrously stacked armies to the gills. 325 Vanguard Ferris. I mean, that's insane how strong these armies are. Fuck it, right? Baron York gives no fucks. He's the one who invented that t-shirt. We've got a good amount of troops here, but can we hold out with militia against this juggernaut attack force? Will that other Vlandian force come in behind, right? The proverbial TV cue. Stay tuned to see what happens, right? This is basically like Epic Siege Saturday, almost every episode at this stage of the campaign. Now again, we're going to continue to use that self-made rule on the break-in process. Unless the enemy is sieging a city with 2,500 or more, we're not going to break in. What does that mean? That means if we have 500 and they have 2,000 sieging, I either have to attack them outside. Pardon me here. Let me finish that thought. I have to either attack them outside or we have to basically leave, right? I'm not going to allow break-ins for cheese easy wins. Frankly, the break-in process is too easy, and I don't even think I have the best perks for it. You can make it so you have even less casualties. They should make it so that if you break into a city keep, and this ding ding ding, if there's any Tail Worlds adjusters of the system listening, make it so that breaking into a city, you get like a quarter or a fifth of your troops. That's what would happen if you tried to rush 500 troops in. Imagine at the Siege of Vienna. If those, oh shit, I got us lost here trying to fucking suggest things to Tail Worlds who's probably not listening anyways. Imagine at the Siege of Vienna, if all those Polish cavalry under Jan Sobieski, the king, tried to sneak in to Vienna, right? Yeah, you think 25,000 cavalry would have just waltzed their way into the city with 10% losses? No, they would have been annihilated, or at least badly damaged. So anyways, a little rant aside here, let's talk about tactics. This courtyard here is interesting. It has pros and cons. It has a nice angle down to the door. That's good. It's very tight and compacted in here. That's bad. So we're going to have to micromanage this. We're going to have an extra division or two here. This will be the focus as usual, right? Anytime you're in a siege defense, the gate is your focus. Now, we have siege here. I hear catapults on both sides. I hear us getting shelled, and we're shelling the enemy too. But that's priority one, right? Set up your forces. These guys will work the catapults, and they might even do some good damage to the enemy siege tower, ram, or whatever. I didn't even actually look. I was so eager to get into this battle, fellas, I didn't do my homework here, but hopefully we can just wing it and pass the test. We've got a lot of infantry. Of course, we have a lot of troops, right? Because, again, of that faulty sneak-in system, right? We have 300 or 400 allied troops here that I can't control, and then we have about 400 or 500 of our own troops, and then the enemy has just a horde of troops out there. So we're going to take this fire catapult, try to get off a few rounds here. They do have a siege tower we can hit, but I got juicy troops right in front of me. It's kind of hard to... Never mind. I'm so good I destroyed the siege tower without aiming at it. You guys see my shot there? Destroy the siege tower? No, of course, that wasn't me. Oh shit, this is the 2nd or 3rd division. Just tell them to get back. I don't want them attracting attention on the wall here, so we'll just temporarily move these guys back. We will babysit those guys in a minute. Hurry up here, dude. Get those fire catapults, because I have 300, 400 Aserai forces here that can't wait to be immolated. 2nd, 3rd. We'll just park these guys here. We're going to need that 2nd and 3rd division for the gate, because our little militia and weak troops is not going to be able to hold that gate. Even with, there's 100 at the square at the gate, that's not going to last, right? I'm going to have to head there. In fact, as soon as we're done here dumping our load, we're going to rush over there, right? Instead of falling asleep, which is what half of you guys do when you fucking dump a load into a bunch of Aserai, right? You guys know what I mean? We're going to fall asleep here. No, we're going to head to the front gate and take care of business. I think I'm better off throwing these at this stage, so we'll be able to do this quickly here. They're coming to the ladders here on my left, and I've got juicy targets to chuck at, right? These are elite troops. These are the critical shots of a siege. I mean, this is, you're killing 80 to 100 of their best troops. It's another thing they could definitely adjust. The AI would be better suited to have kind of a homogenous mix of troops. That way, their 4th wave, there's still Vanguard Ferris mixed in. It would be a lot harder to defend against, because a lot of these siege balls will be killing militia, or not militia, but weaker troops. Although I guess with this army that we're facing, they may not have many weak troops, right? I didn't look super close at their full army makeup, but I know they have an incredible amount of high-ranking troops. Now I think this is good, right? I'm about to head to the gate, but I always like to punch a guy. I always like to just sort of see if the recipe is set here. This is like being the head chef. Like before you head to the next big project, you make sure that your sous chef has everything going as planned, right? That nothing's going to be burned. He's not mixing a bunch of the wrong seasoning in or something like that before we head to the front gate. Just want to kind of make sure that the recipe there is good. Now, this is the AI archers. I'm not doing that, but it's a very added, enjoyable welcome here, because it's occupying the enemy a little bit, right? You got all these archers shooting at the enemy. And just for reference, Dunglanys is one of the very few cities in the game, others that I can think of. Another one is Razi, where the AI does a pretty good job of putting archers up here on the walls and inflicting damage. And what I mean by that is they do better than most cities, and maybe because it's this double layer of archers, right? The enemy's being shot from all these different angles. Now I hear a huge amount of yelling. As soon as I said they do well, the guy gets smoked right in front of us. Makes me look bad. I hear yelling and screaming here, and indeed, they're starting to envelop that square. We're going to have to get these two divisions over here. Let's see, I got the second and third. We'll eventually try to use those stairs over there. There's like stairs up to a little tavern. Maybe they can throw their fucking dark beer mugs at the enemy after they're done taking a swig. I got fireballs to throw here, and I got catapults to shoot here. So I'm feeling very, very well endowed. Feel like a porn star here. We are very well endowed with gifts for this episode. Losing subscribers by the minute. They're like, this guy swears like a fucking sailor, and he's talking about pornographic shit. He's blaspheming. Fuck this guy. And it's like, I'm like the nicest guy you guys know. You don't even have any idea. I volunteer at the Humane Society. Never mind. I'm not gonna tell you guys. It doesn't matter. Let's blow some of these bitches up. Let's add to my reputation here as a villain. We're role playing too, right? Baron York, the scum. It gives me creative license to be an asshole. Get a division of archers on those stairs. We'll see what kind of magic we can work with angles over there. They're definitely prioritizing the gate, but I'm going to keep an eye on that far side, right? You really, as a siege commander, just like a real battle, just like Napoleon in battles, he would ride his horse up and down the line. You're watching shit, right? You're making sure that somebody somewhere doesn't need your help, right? And right here, they need our help. They need more archers on that far side, our right side. So let's bring them over here. Let's get an attack division to clean up the gate, because that death spam is not conducive to winning a siege where we're outnumbered 4-1. We're eventually going to get very weak troops, too. In fact, we already have them. I see a lot of militia rushing up with their wooden shields. But how do you think that's going to work against the Vanguard Ferris? Not terrific. Get in here, militia. Hold your shields up while I kill bitches. Look at they're in there swinging their little mallets. Good job, dudes. I got a soft spot for militia in games like this. I just think it's amazing. You have this little minor help. If there's 1,000 people that end up watching this video, I played a game called Conquest of the New World like 25, 30 years ago, before some of you guys were born. And it was basically sort of a turn-based strategy RPG, set in a supposed America or something like that. And it was amazing, man. You had like these little militia units that would help you, and it's such an odd feeling of comfort, right? When you have regular troops, and then you have all the peasants of the city grabbing their little ball-peen hammer and joining the ranks, right? All these guys, look at those guys. They got scythes and shit. They were farming yesterday. Today they're helping us. And for some reason, that gives me a warm fuzzy. I don't know. Now, we use this little pathetic crossbow. I'm killing my own guys. I'm not even hurting the enemy. You know, I've been told that the scaling of crossbow, Argyle, in fact, one of our longtime supporters, has said that crossbow scaling doesn't really have a major impact till 275. I think he meant the top perk. I don't know if that's 250 or 275. But Baron York is just not there, right? Because I wanted to develop him as an all-around character with good melee combat, he just does not have good crossbow skill. So apologies to those of you who wanted to see me rampage with a crossbow for this campaign, right? It's probably, at this stage, you understand, it's probably not going to happen. It's very hard for you to gain, levels to 44, 48. I've done it before, and it takes a long time. It's probable that Baron York won't get above level 44, which means it'll be hard for him to get his crossbow skills to, 250, something like that. Now the archers over here are finally starting to die, right? This is of course why we advocate keeping them off the wall, but I think it's helped, right? They really have been sort of peppering the enemy, adding to the damage. Even though I'd prefer they were here, we now have a pretty decent setup here, although we got to do a lot more combat in here. The Aserai is still leaking hard over here on this side. Just cut a lord in half with this Falx. It's still all elite units, right? We're definitely going to have to wave, bob, and weave. But this is why I don't have crossbow skill. In Bannerlord, there really is no more deadly skill than high two-handed skill and high athleticism. You just can't beat it. You're just absolutely maul everything in sight. You're like a ballerina with a fucking flamethrower. You're just absolutely difficult to get a hold of. You move and weave and bob and nobody can touch you. I guess it's more like if Bruce Lee was given a machine gun, right? The guy would be unkillable. And look at that shit. That's beautiful, right? We have this 6th division of 29 guys, and almost every single one is just firing downhill into the enemy ranks. Shades of Veron Castle here. It's pretty nasty. Although I think we're better off with a pillar defense. That way the enemy is sort of squeezed between those two squares, and we can funnel and concentrate our fire. Try to get them tucked in that little... You can actually put them in the tower there, where it's kind of blocks your archers and gives you this corridor. Now look at that, right? Our archers are shooting right into there. It's fish in a barrel, right? It's Aserai in a barrel. And even though I can't hit anything, I promise you fellas, this is very effective. You see they're attacking the square, and then they get shot in the back. But I think just Baron York he is who we thought he is, right? Is Al Green or whatever, the Arizona, never mind, you guys have never heard that quote. Silver Nickel, if you've heard the quote or have any idea what I'm talking about, the football quote, they are who we thought they are. It's very old, I'm dating myself, it's obscure, never mind. Half of you guys are like, football? Like which Premier League? And it's like, nah, I'm an American, we decide to just take over the name of your sport. And look at my health. This is amazing, right? This is high-end armor. And guys all the time are like, well, you must be doing it on easy, whatever the easier difficulty is. Hell no. This is not only Bannerlord difficulty, but these units are steroids, right? These guys have elite lords looking at it, mowing down the other guys. We just have high athleticism and elite armor. And, of course, I have experience doing this shit, bobbing and weaving around units in the game. They can't touch Baron York. He's not as deadly as Hugh the Hammer or Wazuban and some of the other characters, but he's pretty fucking deadly, right? If you guys hear me mention that, Wazuban, Zuvan, and you don't know who I'm talking about, it's been from a sequence of campaigns. My original campaign, I started YouTubing, is sort of the middle to late stages of a Sturgian campaign where we were fighting everybody. I just decided, let's make this hella difficult. I was the king of Sturgia, or at least my grandson. A grandson of the original character was the king, and we declared war on everybody, and I was curious what would happen, right? With modded, nasty enemy lords fighting 6 kingdoms. And you can probably guess what happens when you fight the world. Ask Napoleon. Not so terrific results expected, but we had a lot of amazing battles. That unfortunately, the quality of the processing is very poor. Wow, that's it. They fucking fled. We whipped them so bad. Let me finish that point here as I sort of show you the overview here. We killed one of their lords, I think. It's not one of ours. Zuvan was the character from that main campaign, a Sturgeon, and he was a savage badass. I think he was level 54 or 55. He's one of the highest level characters I've ever had. I think we had one other character that approached level 60. I can't remember if he was 58 or 60 or what. Very, very long campaign. I played it to obsessiveness. You guys can't tell I got a little obsessive compulsive behavior here. Take the whole fucking Aserai realm and jackpot, right? And this is we've earned this shit, right? Frankly, these are our troops, right? These are ours and the other Aserai troops from these last battles where these Aserai forces have mauled us. We get to recover a good portion of them. So this is actually going to take me a minute or two. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. We're not using non-Vlandian troops, right? Unless they're mercenaries. So I'm going to continue that thought here while I grab these units, but we'll probably do some editing here because I'm going to be way over the limit. Anyways, so Zuvan was the original character, and then Wazu was the original character for the Aserai campaign. Spoiler alert, right? Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched that yet, don't listen for the next 30 seconds. Wazu had a son that eventually became the main protagonist for the Aserai campaign. Well, these guys became badasses in combat. If you're curious who Hugh the Hammer is, he's just another character from a side campaign of the Aserai campaign. In fact, Wazuban and Hugh the Hammer are basically the same character. They just split off at a different point of the campaign. Anyways, the point is that I've played these other very high-level characters, and even though Baron York doesn't have their ability, their stats and skills, he's pretty damn deadly, right? He's very high-end, two-handed skill. His athleticism is maxed. He's a brute on a horse. He just rips it apart on foot. We just got some incredible loot here. I don't have the ability to sit here and just talk for 5 minutes about the loot. I'm not going to do that anyways. But the point I wanted to make, though, is that we've played these other characters, you know, and it would be, wrap some of these Aserai forces up here. It would be really interesting, like to have an arena match, right, where it's Wazuban versus Baron York, or whatever, right? Guys sometimes on the Discord have like polls who would win in a cage match, right? Wazuban versus Zuvan, etc. By the way, if nobody ever caught it in the Aserai campaign, Wazuban was Zuvan, right? We played a little bit with words for the making of his name, right? Wazoo, of course, I had the intentions of making his son was Zuvan. If you guys got that, you know, an extra silver nickel for you word sleuths out there. All right, we're going to do a little bit of editing here. I've got way too many troops, and you guys will be bored to shit watching this. You know, so I'm not gonna worry too much about this. I was a little careless here. We still have maybe a half dozen non-Vlandian troops in our army, and I've been telling you guys all along we're not going to use non-Vlandian troops, but hopefully you guys obviously can forgive me if we have a handful of Sturgian warriors and an occasional horse archer mixed in. 95% of our army is going to be Vlandia, minor clans, etc. Now this fucker here escaped. Aserai army escaped. And, you know, now it's a question of what do we do next? Of course, we called a couple more armies to us, our influence, even after calling a few guys here, after donating some troops. We're almost 300 again, so we can start to form a real army. And indeed, this is the kind of army that Baron York likes, right? This guy's a meathead. He wants infantry and hot rod horses, right? This guy wants his knights. He wants to stampede the peasant foot troop to the ground. So we have just the kind of army here that Baron York likes. Now, what to do, right? I haven't given you this overview in a little while. The Northern Empire continues to be sort of a pain in the ass here. We're not at war with them, right? And obviously I can't afford to go declare war on them. They'll probably get told to shut the fuck up by Aserai anyways. In the south, they're going after Usank. Lagetta's kind of a pain in the ass too, right? I want to take a few of these locations for a defensive location, because one of the things I'm looking for at this stage is a homeland. We lost Revolt, we lost our workshops. I'll mention the caravan and party income here really quick. You can see it says 7,600. That comes from battle, from the siege. Your troops pillage, right? They're in there picking the pockets of everybody after the battle, and then they give you that money, right? Your clan members, before they become their own clan, when they get money from quests, tournaments, they give you their money. You're like a gangster. All the money comes to you. Now, we're not suffering too much for money because we have all this nice armor, but look at our gold. I think we were at 4 or 5 million at one point in this campaign. We're down to 450. So, maybe we'll do Maranath here. This fucking guy right in front of us is going to raid this village. So we're going to draw and quarter this guy, right, in a role-playing manner. We're not executing nobles here, but that's unreal. This guy right in front of us raids our village. Down he goes. And we're looking for a home. He's still here for Baron York, right? Baron York obviously misses home. Revolt was stolen from him by our disgusting thief king Aserai. The rivalry continues, right? You guys have seen the cutscenes. You guys understand that these two guys don't play well. They don't like each other. We'll never be in an army. We'll never fight side by side with Aserai, right? Fuck him. I can't say never, I guess, but it's very unlikely. Now, I wish I could take Abcomer Castle, too, or Veron. Either one of those would be really good for defense. In fact, the Khazaits are kind of cock-blocking me here. All of the castles and cities that I really want in this campaign are being taken by forces that we can't attack. Karbantsif. So I'm a little bit at a loss to what to do here, right? We have 4 armies. Ours is the biggest. But we'll see what we do here. I guess Pen Canuck or Maranath, I guess, is an okay city to take. But we're very unlikely to be voted cities, right? We're going to have to take several more cities here before there's enough cities to go around, so to speak. What's this shit? Wait a minute. When the fuck are we... I never saw us declare war. What, did that happen during a siege or something? Somehow we're at war with the Sturgians. All of a sudden I see this guy here and there's a red circle around him. There you have it. Well, I didn't see it, fellas. Sorry, I'll have to go back. Maybe I missed it. Sometimes these things happen. Well, there you have it. We're at war with the Sturgians. That changes things, right? This has been the first time we've been at war with the Sturgeons in a while, and look at who he is following, right? If you guys haven't guessed yet, most of you guys are pretty bright fellas. You guys understand that we have some nemesis characters in this campaign. We don't have ordinary Sturgeons here. Yes, there's Ragenvad. Yes, there's normal Sturgeons, but there's also some nasty looking Sturgeons out there. We will meet them in due time. And of course, a lot of you guys have been waiting for battle with them because of the cutscenes, right? If you can't guess yet, the Sturgeons, there is no Norse kingdom in Bannerlord, right? And we have to wait a while for the DLC. Wait, do we have peace already? Who'd peace with? Never mind, this is the minor clan. The DLC is 4, 5, 6, who knows, 12 months out, right? Regaea's out there still. You know, the DLC's still a ways out, but in this campaign, right, we have a little bit of a Norse invasion occurring here. We're doing a little role-playing, of course. It's the Sturgeons. I don't have a Norse kingdom. I wish I could make that for you fellas. Maybe someone's out there working on a mod because they're blue-balled on the DLC. That guy's down there doing Usank Castle. That's not a good spot to be sieging. He's probably a dead man. But let's see what's going on over here to the east, right? In fact, Ortesia just rebelled. In fact, there's some eerie music coming on here because this campaign is about to take another turn for the gnarly, right? One more level of gnarly here. This Sturgeon Empire amplified, and I will explain over the course of this episode and future episodes, they are amplified. They have some nemesis characters. If you don't know what I mean, from the Aserai campaign, we had some edited enemy lords that are, we'll put it this way, they are above and beyond your normal opponent. We've given them some names here. Of course, we're role-playing along with our companions and whatnot. Baron York is going to have some devilish contenders for power here in Calradia. Let's explore here. Mazadon Castle's under siege. This guy, okay, he's right behind us. We've got 1,500 troops-ish, right? We could fight. I don't know what's attacking there. Northern Empire and Khazate. I'm still scoreboard watching. Oops. And here's scoreboard watching for you right there, right? Usank Castle. I was just saying it. These happen with intuition with the game. Look how close they are to the Aserai territory. You siege a castle there with 600. You got a sign above you that says, I'd like to be killed immediately. And if that's all there is, we'll fight that. 1,000 Sturgeons. Which is a little anticlimactic, right? I had hoped to have to face a larger force of Sturgeons than us. But we'll see. They could easily get reinforcements, right? The east here is nebulous. It's kind of, there's a fog of war. That's, of course, intentional. Obviously, that force there at Usank just got mangled. And we've got, you know, we've got a sizable force here, so maybe this will be an uninteresting battle, or maybe it won't be, right? Maybe there'll be reinforcements. Either way, we're going to engage here. Now, I didn't say engage. Stupid fuck. This guy just starts to fight. You know what I'm going to do? I want to be able to set up my troops, and I'm going to teach this guy a lesson, too. He's a pixel. He doesn't give a fuck. It's just the AI. But I'm going to teach this guy here for jumping the gun. There's a famous battle where Napoleon was about, 15 minutes away from making a major maneuver, and some of his young guard, right, some of his vanguard was like, advance, Emperor, let's attack. And he chastised the guy. Basically, he was like, shut the fuck up. I'm the Emperor, I'm the commander. And you guys get a glimpse here of some of these characters. Now, let's give you a glimpse or two. I'm not going to show you like their whole roster. Of course, we got to meet these guys just to see this profile page. But look at the skills here. These are above normal. These are above possible. 358 medicine skill. You know what that means? These characters, these enemy troops on the battlefield are going to have a massive amount of hit points, which means I'm actually going to upgrade every single troop here and every single peasant. This is not a given. I know it looks like an automatic blowout, but you just can't take these kind of battles for granted in this campaign. You see the power bar, it's almost 50-50, even though we badly outnumber them. We don't have a maxed out army. We've got a very powerful army, but we don't have characters with 360 medicine skill. So we're going to still have to brawl here with the Sturgeons. This might be the most anticlimactic battle of the campaign. Obviously, I was hoping for, a big, exciting face-off with these guys, but I don't control the battles, right? These things just happen over the course of the campaign, and maybe, of course, we will simply edit over this battle afterwards. Now, this is Baron York's kind of army. It's not my kind of army, but we will adapt. Infantry heavy. I didn't actually look to see what the Sturgeons have, but I'll just give you guys a hint. They're going to be infantry heavy. I'll talk more about that either in this episode or the next. And look at our beautiful pike division here. We're going to do pike and shot. We have a true pike polearm division. That's like 50 guys that are all pikemen. Now, it's probably not optimal against the Sturgeons because they're not likely to have, 400 cavalry. So we will pair them with a crossbow division, probably the 4th. I like putting them in locations where they can flank uphill. So I'm leaning towards the left flank here for the 4th and 7th. But I also want to have a shield and shock approach. We might run a left side heavy formation, and that's because of the hills. I want to be able to shoot down into this valley. We can't see the enemy. But they're probably going to be somewhere in the 300-400 yards ahead of us. There's a valley there. We'll try to use that to shoot down over our infantry into their packed ranks. Now, Sturgia represents a very difficult, a task to kill with archers because of their shields. You double their hit points, and you can see, that we've got no mere normal battle here. This is going to be interesting, to say the least. I don't know how these battles are going to go. What I mean by that is I haven't tested, what it's like to fight this kind of a sturgeon force with this kind of medicine skill. So I need horse archers? I guess we have like 2 horse archers or something. So you guys are getting front row seat here to a little bit of beta testing. There is a mod involved here, right? That you guys, I've been talking about a little bit, and I'm going to feature next episode. I think not in this episode here. I think I'll start the episode off talking about this mod, talking about this campaign a little bit more here, and look at that fucking Vanguard. It looks different, probably. That's because they have different armor, different equipment than Sturgeons than you are used to, right? These are, for role-playing purposes, we are going to say that the Nord invaders have basically convinced Rag and Bad to add some of their savage warriors to the mix, and many of those guys, of course, these Nordic warriors, are on foot. Right, so you guys get your cake and eat it too. We get the DLC this fall, and you get you get your itch scratched a little bit with this campaign. Hopefully it's epic. Now, they got a bunch of Vanguard Ferris for some reason. That's kind of odd. We're going to move our shield and shock up over here. Troops are approaching. Here we go. Already reinforcements. These are coming to help us. Now, we're close to Sturgeon territory, right? So it's not impossible for an army of 1,500 just to roll into this battle and completely change the outcome. We shall see, right? That's going to be an element this entire campaign, and I am loving it. We've tinkered a little bit with the reinforcement mod, and I think it's going to be at a level where it's interesting, it's dynamic, but it's not ridiculous, where caravans are riding in from halfway across the map. We're going to have some discretion by enemy forces here. These motherfuckers are blocking everything. And, we'll see if we need to balance it more. But the bottom line is I think it's very well balanced now. And maybe at some point or other I'll talk about settings for you guys who want to emulate it. So the enemy, ironically, has a really unusual force here for Sturgeons. They have a huge batch of very powerful archers. They've got a small amount of cavalry here, but it's all elite. And they're pounding us with arrows at range. It's really odd. I mean, partly, we don't have a lot of archers, so we're not really going to win a ranged battle here. So let's move in for the kill here, right? Baron York is intent on using cavalry. And look at the axes coming. If you don't know, well, you will learn, right, about these units we're facing. These are not your normal Drudzinnik. In fact, they're no longer even named Drudzinnik. For those expecting and hoping to have Drudzinniks in this campaign, apologies. Although, I'm not going to apologize. It is what it is. You don't have to watch. You don't like it? Don't watch. We'll be a gangster here since we're role-playing a gangster character. Now, our cavalry's being melted there by their archers, so we're just going to have them charge. Archers are moving up. Infantry's in the center. We're going to have to collapse on this division faster than I want to. And I'm noticing some ominous trends here. Every one of their troops is blocking and fucking playing defense like a superstar, and they're taking no damage. You know why that's happening? Because of that perk list I showed that Norse warlord had. Knut, if you've never heard of Knut, I'll talk more about him both in real life and in this campaign in future episodes. He was a Norse king. Right? This guy was... anyways, we'll get into that more. But these guys have monstrous, impossible stats. So not only do they have really good units, but they're going to have all kinds of perks. Perks galore, right? Artificial perks. Look at that shit. It's almost like they've got a peekaboo ridge here, too. Inadvertently, the AI is actually putting on some good tactics. Let's advance here. This is a fucking battle we could lose. Second and third division move up on our left. Let's get those guys forward. The first division towards the core here. We're already getting reinforcements. That's not a good sign. That means we've lost like 300 troops already. Let's start pushing in here. We've got some crossbow to keep them sort of pinned down, but man, we're going to have to deal with that. You see that 443 troops of infantry. Yikes. Here we go, right? They have 300 archers, and they're bringing in reinforcements. I can't tell if they've had more troops, right? What you see on the battlefield is what you get. And again, you guys have probably noticed your power bar disappearing again, right? I'm not going to do it every battle. I'm going to do it with battles that are either close, intriguing, or that I want to make a little bit more of a mystery for you fellas. Their archers are elite, too. They're just stacked and elite. We're going to have to tackle this just with raw power here, right? We've got cavalry coming through here, causing mayhem with their archers. Meanwhile, we're going to move our infantry divisions up in a hurry. I've got to close on these guys here. We're not going to be able to keep them occupied forever with just cavalry. We're getting shot to pieces, and the death spam tells you that. Now, I also see myself doing 100 hit points to every single guy here, of course, because they have 200 hit points. Their army's going to be very hard to kill here. We're going to have to fight like fucking demons here. I might get off my horse. This is a situation where our infantry's closing. I don't have my spear. I forgot to mention that. I didn't prepare well for this battle. I kind of overslept and didn't do my homework here. So I think I'm better off on foot. Let's push a cav line right into their archers, and let's wade into this fucking... Let's see what this heavy infantry force of Sturgians has got, right? Let's see what these guys are all about here. Face to face. And they're fucking wielding axes. And every guy is parrying everything. We got a bunch of Jet Li warriors all of a sudden. We're going to have to bob and weave like never before. Motherfucker. This is like an arena. Every guy's elite. Jesus Christ, dude. What's it going to take? It's going to be a while if it takes me 20 seconds to kill one guy. And they are. They're all just defending like fucking heroes. Vlandians. And it's a giant scrum here. Where's the rest of my troops here? Fuck. We've got some companions over here. I got 2 companions on our flank here. The rest of the archers are melted. And we got some violent combat ahead. You can see what's going on here. These guys have a 2-handed axe. They have a sword. They have a shield. Again, we'll talk more about them after this battle, or maybe next episode. But we've got our fucking hands full in this battle. The enemy has elite troops. They've got fucking overzealous lords parrying everything, chamber blocking, and our infantry is getting waxed. We're going to need reinforcements here. It's just plowing a hole right through our elite infantry. We're just not going to be able to take these guys on like normal infantry. We're going to have to use better tactics. We've got 2 archer divisions. I'm being chased here. Fuck you. I'm trying to do tactics, man. Give me a little break here so I can do tactics. Oh, shit. You guys won't die. Die! I'm going to have to just run here. I got to command these units. I need to break these archer divisions into 2 divisions. There's reinforcements coming in, and our troops are routing. Fucking guys are like, run! Let's split these divisions up. I've got 500 archers. I guess these are our low-level archers at the back of the army here. A force seems they're joining the enemy forces here. Buckle up. My fucking hands are shaking. This battle means nothing, too. This is early in our wars here with the Sturgians, obviously. I'm being chased by fucking axe murderers here. I don't have any infantry left. Our infantry got killed. Wow. I got some cavalry here in the 2nd Division. We'll have them charge once they're in place. We've got allied forces coming in too, so it's chaos. Our archers are working on the axe murderers that are chasing me. These guys just won't die. Kill these guys. Of course, they block everything. Maybe we made it too hard. We'll see, fellas. Look at this guy. He's like, they're like lords. Each fucking Sturgian Vlandian is like a lord now. I mean, they are badass. This is going to be gnarly. Every battle could be, you know, the last. And there's going to be deaths, right? I'll remind you that aspect too. The Death for All mod is cranked 25 times the normal rate, right? So I've got a sliver of health, and I'm a little nervous. Normally, you don't give a fucking battle. You just charge in, you go down, you go down. Even with the RTS mod, you're like, I'll just take over somebody else. Baron York get killed this battle, right? So I'm sort of protecting myself here. It does seem like this allied help, and their fucking Southern Empire forces here, they must be at war with the Sturgians, so they're getting on a little revenge here. It does seem like the battle has folded our way. But this was, fellas, this was the hardest, the hardest blowout I've ever participated in. That was fucking gnarly. Hopefully you got a nice little adrenaline rush out of that. And we've got our hands full here in this campaign. We've got a gnarly Aserai force to the south, led by Wazuban. Oh, Marco, brother. We lost one of our Patreon supporters in that battle. We'll see. Maybe a couple episodes will give you a new character. I've got no problem making a new Marco companion. But this is what we're up against, right? Canute Forkbeard. You guys are obviously welcome to read about him. Wikipedia has excellent information about him. But our campaign just took a turn. That's my new tagline, right? The campaign is taking a turn for the gnarly here. Now, we're going to be able to restock here. They got a bunch of prisoners because they've probably been whipping ass. Again, we're not going to be taking non-Vlandian units, which is going to make this campaign harder. There will be more twists and turns, friends. As if there haven't been enough yet, there will be more. Of course, if you want to see more from this campaign, and I don't know why you wouldn't, right? I'm excited for it, and I'm fucking playing this shit, and I know some of the twists and turns. I'm excited for you guys to learn about these fucking new units. Everybody, and I mean everybody, wants the Sturgians or the Norse to have tier 6 infantry. Well, your wish is complete, right? With this new mod we're going to add to this. And apologies to the console players. Hopefully you guys get mods someday and you can add this mod. I appreciate Mr. Fellow who's been helping me out with this. You know, he's never really given me his actual name. He goes by the Lord of Middle-earth. Maybe Sauron here is working with me to make mods for this campaign. That would be quite appropriate, right? It seems like the Dark Lord would make a unit like that. I mean, you guys get a first little taste of them on the battlefield, and it isn't fun, right? It's like facing fucking gladiators. All right. That was an exciting fucking couple battles. I'm going to wrap this episode up. Of course, again, you want to subscribe if you want to see more. Hit notify if you want to know when new episodes come out. Leave any comments or questions you have. And of course, with all that said, friends, I appreciate you guys. And I will see you, friends, next time.